What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. It's the King and I Live podcast with your boys. It's me, Soul Toucher the Poet, and my brother in the joint.
Son, so Lex up in her.
Oh man, we jumping back into this conversation. I know we've been at it, but it's real heavy. It's a lot of context to it. And it's a lot of stuff that we surely don't have enough time to touch on, but we're gonna keep it going. So, we just going through a lot of stuff. So let's talk about where the United States is now as far as the revolution mindset and stuff like that. So Lex, you want to jump off? You want me to jump into it?
I'll let you jump in first.
All right. So my thing is this. As we've discussed it, you just gotta be smart with your revolutions and your movements and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, buffoonery only begets buffoonery. And for those of you out there who don't understand where I'm coming from, you keep giving buffoonery, you're gonna keep getting buffoonery. So let's look at recently. We had the January 6th stuff. I'll consider that a revolution, attempt revolution, or whatever you want to call it. Um, which to me was stupid because it didn't accomplish anything. One, it was based on lies, misinformation, and this, that, and the other. And the people who perpetrated this um, are looked at as domestic terrorists. And that's the big thing about these type of revolutions today. You are more likely to be looked at as a domestic terrorist depending on how you go about these things. Um, so that failed. A lot of these people caught court cases, jail time, this, that, and the other. In my opinion, I feel like they should have been charged with treason, which holds the penalty of death, up to death. I think they should have been charged with treason. That's just my personal opinion because of all of what we fought for and all of what we should stand for in this country. um, Again, there's a smart way to do these type of things. And then just this past weekend, they had a rally for those who were arrested on January 6th. And this is the stuff that pisses me off about these type of revolutions today. You do a revolution with misinformation and lies, and you got you got a large percentage of the country who are saying, oh well, they were expressing their rights and this, that, and other. No, you were not expressing your rights. And then you have people pacifying this nonsense and justifying this behavior. And then when you look at, let's just say, we're gonna say from our point of view, I'm gonna speak for both of us just on this part. We're gonna say, if that was a bunch of our people, we can almost assume that there would have been a lot of deaths. So there's an imbalance when it comes to these type of things, revolutions or whatever you want to call them. And so that's why my thing is, if you're going to have some type of revolution, you have to be smart about it. And that's my spiel on
All right. So uh, we've talked about that whole incident before. Again, I still believe that's an inside job. I don't give a damn what anybody tell me.
it. Yeah, I can
Simply
agree with you. You had
because
some inside help. Yeah.
we've been in those environments where we know how inside jobs go
Right.
down. Anybody who's been in those inner circles know that shit.
Right.
But anyway, of course, like they said, some people have received jail times and prison time and fines and all kinds of stuff. Show me the receipts, motherfucker. Show me the receipts, because I'm not believing that shit. Um, I will say, there are some Americans who feel like, they were just exercising their rights. Um, Perhaps they were, perhaps. But again, from the average person looking at it, they are like, yeah, yeah, you should do that. But for those of us who, got a little more insight or see things
Comment.
through, different shades, um,
A reasonably thinking eye.
yeah, I just don't. It was a whole coup, man. It was staged, in my opinion. So I can't even call that a revolution. It was like goddamn actors. Like who the fuck gonna really go up in the damn White House with a damn big ass, what was it, like a bison hat on or some shit? Body paint like he a damn Indian and shit. Man, get your ass up out of here. But no, I don't see that anywhere near a real revolution. When you have a real revolution, in my opinion, it's when everybody, every citizen, um, no matter what their nationality is involved. It's when the people
Right.
stop,
I get where you coming from.
dividing themselves and have a common goal or a common understanding
Hmm.
of where we're tired and we're not going to take this anymore. So again, that was a whole bunch of people from another nationality doing their thing. So of course, if that's what you want to do your thing, homie. I'll be standing way the fuck back
Mm.
because that's not a revolution to me. Again, you got to have everybody across the board, no matter what their damn financial background, their racial background, sexual orientation background, sex, whether male, female. I mean, you got to have everybody all in order to have a real revolution. And plus, a real revolution isn't going to be televised. I promise you that. But
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents on that part.
I just want to add some more before we move on.
All right.
Staged and tomato, tomato.
Yeah.
Bison head dude. I'm gonna tell you what I look at this that a coup, revolution, whatever. I'm gonna call that a social media challenge gone wrong. That's what I'm gonna call that because from the videos that I saw, you had some being serious,
Right.
you had some being silly, you had some being outrageous, and some just with the get along game. Um,
True that.
I can almost call it a revolution because of the amount of people and the amount of damage and chaos that they caused. Um, and I will almost call it a revolution because they had intentions on lynching and killing people, Vice President Nancy Pelosi and a few others. Um, but at the end of the day, they did not come in real revolution form. And what I mean by that is if they really wanted to do something instead of being instigated by the former president, I think they would have came heavily armed more than they were. And to me, that would have been for me labeled more as a revolution. Being that they did not come heavily armed or anything like that, because it's easy to transport guns into DC if nobody knows what's going on, and they were totally unprepared. So when I look at this, I say if they were on, if everyone out there was armed to some degree, um, and more, uh, well, shoot, I don't even. Well, if officers would have lost their lives that day, then yes, I can say, yeah, that was pretty much a revolution. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll jump off of that.
All right. I got to add to that, though. I got to. Um, The reason I say I can't really see it as a real revolution is
Hmm.
because they didn't come armed.
Yeah,
And
right.
another thing about it is, if you're gonna do a real revolution, you don't wait until the motherfucking house that you're going to take over is empty.
Mm,
It's kind of like um, going to a jewelry store to rob the damn jewelry store when you damn well know the jewelry isn't in there. You already know all the jewelry in that store is gone, but you break into it anyway. So it makes no sense. And again, the thing, like you're saying, is if you really gonna bring that fire, you really gonna bring that heat, what the hell you gonna do? Come up in there with a bunch of empty-handed protesters, empty-handed. Like if you gonna do some major revolutionary shit, you gonna bring that fire. I'm not gonna
mm.
say what that fire is, but leave it to your own imagination. Um, and again, I am no way saying to do that. I'm not saying that shit at all. Please understand. But again, in different countries, people who really started a revolution came with that heat, meaning they did not come with a bunch of damn picket signs and pushing, barricades by hand to the side and storming, you know, the building. But anyway, I'll get off that.
Well, God damn it! Now I got to throw one last thing in there. Ah, God damn! Why do you bait me, man? All right, so it wasn't empty. They were counting ballots to certify the election. That's what they were in there doing, and the former president knew this. And with all of those people down there, he knew that they were going to down there to try to stop that. That's what they were trying to do. So those jokers scattered and got in secure locations inside the Capitol. Now, the last thing that I will throw in there is that let's keep in mind that things like this that happened back in the day, they probably didn't have a whole bunch of guns and stuff and this, that, and the other. So they probably had sticks, bats, pickets, pick forks, and all this, that, and the other. But as you were saying, today, today,
Hmm.
if you wanted to have a real revolution, you would come with that smoke, that heat, that fire, those flashlights, that artillery, all this, that, and the other, because you have to keep in mind one thing. DC has more law enforcement agencies than any city in this country.
Exactly.
It has probably five, six, seven, eight, I don't know exactly how many military bases around DC. Um, so it's a lot going on, and a lot of people will say, well, why didn't they call the military? Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Well, a certain individual was in office, the certain individual who was in office that had the authority to allow federal troops to come in did nothing because he was okay with that. Everybody, I'm. That's it. That's it. Anyway,
Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on.
so what factors do we see today that foreshadow revolution? Um, the first thing I will say is how the Republican Party is acting, or I'll just say how politicians are acting overall. There's a lot of nonsense. Um, you know, the media calls it gaslighting. I'll call it instigating because
Hmm.
you have you have the politicians doing certain things that that aggravate a certain group of people, and then you have the news media that's stirring the pot. And so when you have that, that's one thing that is foreshadowing revolution today to me.
I'll say we have no revolution in sight.
Mm. Damn it.
And the reason I say that is because, one, I don't think the people are fed up to that point yet. They feel that, this system is running just fine, even though they know that, you know there's mass corruption across the spectrum, every board. Even though
Mm-hmm.
they know that, people are still being innocently killed in this nation. So again, I'm just under the impression of people are just fine with it. They're just fine with it because if they weren't fine with it, you would see more things going on. Like, there are certain nations around the world where they are really pushing back against their governments. I'm not gonna name any names, but just check out world news. You know, don't Google, because Google is not gonna tell you the truth. You got to go
Mm.
to the dark web, as they say. Um, but again, I just think that the corruption, as far as all the politicians, even up to the Oval Office, as they say, is just crazy because they put out these large smoke screens, meaning the news, and they'll say that one party is doing this and the other party is doing that, and so on and so forth. And I'm still under the impression of birds, or, just because you got a left wing and a right wing, they still
Mm-hmm.
attach to the same damn bird.
Pretty much.
So again, I think they're sitting back laughing at the citizen of our nation. They're sitting back saying, "Look at how big of a fool we're able to make these people." Because in the public eye, we all hate each other, but behind closed doors, we're the best of buddies.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
as far as seeing a revolution, I see nothing in sight. I will say this. I will
Mm.
say that I think that more and more people are starting to wake up. They're actually starting to get it, as they say. They're starting to see
Mm. Ugh.
that, this thing is not what it's being presented to be. So I'll leave it at that.
You better than me because I still think a lot of people are fucking snoring. Um, I will agree with you, you know, about politicians making a fool of average person. Um, will I say that they're all getting along behind closed doors? I would say no. Um, but I will also say there's a lot of them who play both sides of the fence, and then you'll have cliques that are like-minded doing ignorant stuff.
Yeah,
But I think um I think people in general, and I'm gonna say this again, I think we're not going to have the change that we really want unless people as a whole start putting more effort and energy into who they vote for, voting period, speaking up and speaking out, um, holding these people accountable, and all this, that, and the other. Because the thing about it is, and if you look at governments, certain governments around the world, we have a lot more say so, a lot more power than we are exercising. And
agreed.
because a lot of us don't exercise our rights properly, um, that is what's hurting us overall. And that goes into our next point, which is greater exercise of the First Amendment rights. The problem that we are having now is people are quick to say, "Oh, they're violating our rights. They're they're trampling on my freedom and this, that, and the other. And it's like you and I, even though we have different views on voting, this, that, and the other,
Right.
you and I can sit back on a goddamn porch. And if we look at the country in general, and we look at the people who say, "Oh, they're violating our rights and they're this and they're that," and we can say, "Well, what the hell are you talking about?" Because for every person that says somebody is violating my rights or this, that, and the other, you have to look at it. People are not even exercising their rights. Um, One of the biggest things that can be pointed out today um, is the whole vaccine thing. Um, when you look at it from the standpoint of when you look at it from the standpoint of the vaccine, um, people are trying to mandate vaccine and people saying, "Oh, that violates rights, this, that, and the other." If you really look at it, if you really, really, really look at it, if you really break it down, you're you're being mandated to take the vaccine, but you're not being forced to take the vaccine. Just look at it like this. If you want to come in my house and I say you can't come in my house unless you do this or you do that, you have a choice to make. If you really want to come in my house, you're going to do one of those two things. If you say, fuck it, it's not worth it, you're not going to come in my house. You're just going to go on about your business. So when you look at people saying, oh, they're violating my rights and it's that, nobody is really violating your rights. You, they're just not. If you break that down to common sense shit, if a vaccine is violating your rights, then a fucking piss test for a job is violating your rights. If you look at, okay, well, I'm driving my car and I go just 3 miles over the speed limit and I get a ticket. Oh, they're violating my rights. No, they're not violating your rights. There's a speed limit and you're expected to do the speed limit. If you go over the speed limit, you get a ticket. Nobody's violating your rights, but you see people get fucking attitudes about that little shit. So I don't know.
I'll say this, right? Um, they've been taking away our rights for who knows how many years now. It just slowly, gradually knocking them down, changing them, adding amendments, taking away amendments, things along that nature. So that's nothing new. Um, People can bitch and complain about their rights being taken away all they want to. Go ahead, but it's not going to change anything again until you change the fucking laws. So when I, come across that whole conversation about uh, getting vaccinated or not being vaccinated, I leave that bitch right where it's at. Because at the end of the day, um, you have a hard choice to make. Either you're gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. Like you said, the choice is yours.
Right. Right. That simple.
But um, there are a lot of people right now who are, saying I'm not going to take it. Can I say they're right or wrong? Nope, not gonna do that. But again, you got a hard choice to make, and I think that there are a lot of people who have made that choice. Like if you have to get a shot to maintain your job or to keep a job, there are a lot of people saying fuck that job. Who am I to say you right or wrong? You made your choice, and that's just what it is. So, again, do I agree with them forcing people to do it? Nope. Will there come a day they may force people? I don't know. A lot of signs say yes, but some signs say no. So it's one of those things. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait and see. Um, again, I have my stance on that, and I'm going to keep that stance. Um, will I change my mind? I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But as of right now, I'm staying part where I'm at. I'm staying neutral, as they say, until it's time to for me to make that hard choice.
Right. But so jumping back into the First Amendment rights and stuff like that. So in terms of revolution, you have freedom of speech as long as you don't say certain things. Air quotes. Um, you have freedom of religion, which I will almost say is one of the most guaranteed freedoms that you have. But that goes down to your communities, your family groups, and this, that, and the other. Um, freedom of press. Um, of course, the press is out there saying any and every damn thing, and I think freedom of press is a tricky one because they can put a spin on any damn thing, and it causes a lot of conflict because you have one news station that says one thing, you have another news station that says another thing, you got another one saying another thing, then you got this one saying this, and we're talking about the major ones, and then you got the smaller ones saying this, that, and the other, and then you got the local ones, and you got the community ones, then you got the individual ones who are saying all this, that, and the other. So freedom of press is dangerous. I appreciate it because there is some informative stuff out there, but it's dangerous. Um, and another thing about freedom of press is it doesn't matter where you get your news from. I don't care if it's mainstream. I don't care if it's local. I don't give a damn if it's uh your community news liaison or whatever the case may be. Everybody is going to put their spin on information to sway the people that they intend to reach. Period. I don't care where you get your news from. I don't give a damn if it's a pro black news thing or anti Jew news thing, pro Native American. I don't care where the news come from. Whoever's delivering that news is going to put their spin on it to sway whoever it's for. Um, right to assemble. Yes, we have the right to assemble, but that depends on the color of your skin and the reason that you're assembling. Right to petition the government. You had the right to petition the government, and hey, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but hey, it is what it is when it comes to that.
And, I'll say I agree with you. Um, freedom of speech, you hit the nail on the head. There are certain things you can say, and there's certain things you can't say. It's okay for a major news network to put out false information. And the crazy part about it is there's not one law anywhere stating that they have to tell the truth. Not one law anywhere. So it's about selling newspapers, it's about getting viewers, it's about the
Mm-hmm.
numbers. ain't about the truth or what's right or what's wrong. It's about what they can do to get whatever it is they need from the general public.
Yep, pretty much.
So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to the King of I Life podcast. We're going to come back and I will give you the rest of my dialogue for this section. But it's on you, Soul Touch.
Hey, tune in to the next segment because we gonna come right back at you with it.
Yes, sir.